But yeah, so we're gonna analyze my qualifier games because I made worlds. But yeah, this game was really, really cool. I'm going to explain to you guys exactly the purpose of every single opening and each game basically had a theme. So, all right, so I played D4. And the reason for this is because everybody tells me or calls me a one trick, including my Wikipedia page. So I decided I'm going to prove you guys all wrong and show I'm not actually a one trick. Now I'm officially a two trick. To be really clear, this tournament was like my return to chess, right? So obviously I kind of need to put out a statement, and the statement is just that like I literally have not played, like I used to be always so rigid when I used to play chess. Like I would have to do what was, you know, and now I just kind of care less. So I mean, this is just the Queen's Gambit decline orthodox variation. This was my redemption arc. I just had to do this. So the purpose of my opponent playing g6, first of all, the purpose of me playing h3 is that my opponent can't play bishop to g4. And I played h3, so now my opponent threatens bishop f5, so you play bishop to d3 to kind of counteract that, obviously. And then after castle, I played knight to a4. Okay, guys, guess what the purpose of playing knight to a4 is? What do you guys think? What do you guys think the purpose of playing a move like knight to a4 is? It's not to send a message, nor is it really about knights being on the rim, being dim. Yes, partly it's to put the knight onto c5, and the other reason is because I have this half open file. After knight takes a4, queen takes a4, I can use this half open file in order to rook lift. And the purpose of rook lifting is super important in these kind of structures, because otherwise, where exactly are you going to attack, right? So basically now I'm able to rook lift this one up and then also bring over my other rook in order to attack my opponent's kingside. And that's exactly what I do. So I first play g4 in order to not let him play bishop to f5 once again. When I'm trying to put some pressure on my opponent, I want his pieces as passive as possible. So this is a prophylactic move in order to not let the knight or the bishop into the game. So after bishop to c8, play rook c3, rook to c1, just putting more pressure onto the c file, rook to d6, rook to a3. Well, I'm just threatening checkmate. Queen before king 8, knight e5. I'm just trying to get all my pieces really active. But yeah, basically I have all my pieces kind of aimed at his king, right? So this is, sorry, her king. But here, what I really needed to do was play bishop to b5. I mean, this move seems a little bit crazy, but funnily enough, both the A file is pinned. Both the A and B file, C files are pinned. So she can't play A takes B5 because it's pinned. She can't play C takes B5 because I rook takes C7, right? So it's basically like, well, what can she do? She can ignore it and play some. If she plays something like H6, the plan is quite simple. I can play knight takes C6. If B takes C6, then I have bishop takes A6, and then all of a sudden I have this, and it's pretty much checkmate soon. So all of my pieces are just on the king side. I can start like taking any of these pawns in order to take the other one. On queen to b6, I can just play knight takes f7, because for example, if she plays queen takes, then I can play takes, c takes, and then I take the rook, and then if rook takes, then I have rook to c8 with the check. So then I'm just up material. I mean, the idea of bishop e2 is not that complicated. It's just knight to d3 and then knight to c5. That's really all I want to do. So that's exactly what I did. You know, like I stuck by my plan. I played f4 in order to potentially play f5 and get my knight onto c5. I didn't care that much in the game about this plan. Instead, I just chose to play it kind of slowly, put pressure on the c6 pawn, then eventually play a4. Move my rook over, all that kind of stuff. Rook to c3, play bishop to f1 in order to not lose to knight takes d4 because of there would be, for example here, there would be queen takes e2 after, so don't want that to happen. Okay, so bishop f1, rook to h8, a4, rook a8, rook to a3, king to b2, rook d8, rook ac1. I mean, this is just such a painful position for her because there's nowhere for pieces to go. So what I kind of did is just put my knight on c5, played h3 so I can play bishop to h3 and then knight to e6. Then let me actually put my knight on e6. And after queen takes b7, played rook b3 and then just kind of Yeah, I just took all the pieces basically. The pieces are so sad. So I think my opponent castled long because if you take a look at the position, if she castles on this side of the board, right, then I can start playing things like G4, rook to G1, H4 and start attacking. So this is just one of those kind of games that my opponent just pretty much had no chances. It's really impressive, actually. I'm like astounded by how I played because I don't usually play this well. Okay, let's go to game 2. Okay, there we go. That's game 2. I wasn't expecting D4. I don't know why. I just didn't. I just straight up was like, yeah, I don't know how to play against a Scotch. But yeah, she played D4. And this is just one of those moves that's like not complicated. But I didn't know any of the theory because I just totally forgot theory. So every single move, I was just like, thinking real hard about what to play. After b3, I played g6. I'm just gonna go bishop g7 and then attack e5. So yeah, I don't know how to play this. I didn't know how to play this with 2 pawns up. So after bishop g7, she played f4 in order to defend her pawn. But then, she played f4 preemptively to defend her pawn. And then she played queen to d2, which is really weird because I just take on f4. And if queen takes f4, then I have bishop takes e5. I do think too much, actually. So I used to get in time trouble all the time until my coach was literally like, why? You're gonna play terrible anyways. Just play it faster. He didn't say it exactly along those lines, but he was like, your move in terms of the engine is not gonna change. So why are you spending 20 minutes instead of just spending 2? So I literally got told, play fast and bad. Okay, that's not exactly what he said, but like what I meant is that he literally said the move I make in terms of the engine eval is probably not going to be that big. So like, why am I spending so much time on like openings sometimes? If you're going to play a bad move, you're still going to play a bad move. So my opponent has like king d1. I'm threatening discover attack. There's no other move. So bishop takes b2, queen takes b2, castled here. And very interestingly, this is just not that easy for me to play somehow. Like I thought it would be really easy, but I think instead of playing rook e8, it was really important for me to actually play c5 so I could put my knight on d4, because what happened in the game was that I went for this idea of playing d5, which is like a lot more logical, right? Because you want to open up the center when your opponent's king is in the middle of the board. One of the many rules of chess that you guys should know. So your bishop is sad if you don't play c5. This is true as well. Another reason to play c5 actually. So when your opponent's king is in the middle of the board, usually you want to open it up. Except in this case, because my knight ended up being really passive on the side of the board, right? For example, this position compared to like the knight here, not that good. So knight to h5, king c2, d5, bishop d3, rook a d8, rook to e1, queen to d7, and then queen to a3. She's doing well, right? Yeah, so don't really want to be doing that. Queen to a3 kind of threatens the a7 pawn, so you want to play these are just like, so here I didn't play that well, but these are just like tactical kind of things. So here I played rook e8, queen takes a7. My biggest mistake was eventually letting her exchange off the queens. So here I kind of messed up because here's a fork. So I had to like not get my queens traded, but it was really hard for me to see queen e7, queen c5. So basically my queen just got traded, and after queens get traded, I'm only up a pawn, and this pawn is speedy, so not really good. So I should have played queen to d8 just to not exchange queens, but this is just one of those moves you don't really want to play. Additionally, I think queen d8 here is a lot stronger because then you avoid queen c5 altogether. But these are just hard moves to find over the board. Okay, so c5, and I mean this endgame is just a draw technically, right? Because I'm up a pawn, but these are double pawns, so that doesn't really count as like 2 pawns. And then my opponent also has a pass pawn. So if we think about the rule of 2 weaknesses, my advantage was that I'm up a pawn. But for that, my opponent has a pass pawn, and also I have double pawns, so it's kind of equal. I don't really have like a big advantage here or anything. It should be technically a draw. And that's kind of the direction the game sort of went into. So after this, I just decided to go for all the pawns, and then I'll play a 3 pawn versus a bishop, rook 3 pawns. What I missed, I mainly just missed c5. I really just missed c5 and exchanging the queens. Those were like the 2 main things that got me to not be able to win my middle game. But yeah, I mean, I decided to just play this endgame. It's a draw, but I'm the only person with winning chances, so that's like not the worst, right? Like if you can play this endgame for the next 50 moves, I'm the only person who could ever win. because bishop rook is the draw, which is another note you guys should be making if you ever need to trade down into a drawn endgame. You can know which piece configurations are actually a draw. So after rook f6, bishop e4, h5, bishop f3, I just want to try to push these pawns up, right? Just push them, keep pushing. And here in this position, this is a moment where it's like, okay, it's theoretically a draw, but it's still a little bit difficult to kind of play these sort of positions as white. Like, for example, I actually don't even know how to draw this as white. What she should have done is, first of all, not do something like that. Not use the bishop for the pawn and just really retreat it, because I'm gonna have hell pushing my pawns, right? Because this bishop basically controls all of the squares on this diagonal, and if he can get 2 pawns for the bishop, then it's probably like 99% a draw. But even then, yeah, she kind of let my pawns push up way too fast. But I mean, chess is what it is. So take the bishop, and after this, it was just like she had so many drawing chances. I think just really had to go here, check, and then just make sure that I can never push my pawns, because this rook's tied up here, this king is tied here, so it goes here, here. That's kind of like the drawing procedure for white, but she let me basically have too many free moves. Like, you see how she's not really tying me down? If she plays this, for example, I think this pawn just pushes and it's a win. Yeah, this goes back into the endgame. So that's a win. You don't want a corner pass pawn for the most part. These pass pawns, if you are looking to basically try to win with a pass pawn, you want a pawn that's not on the side of the board, because these pawns are really easy to defend against, unless you've cut the king off from the promotion square. So when the pawn is like promoting here, it's like pretty impossible for black to win. So that's why I would have preferred to keep on this pawn and not the h pawn. Okay, so rook a7, rook g5, rook a3, king here, rook b2, king here. So this is just gradually coasting towards a win. I'm just like pushing the pawn slowly up, and oh my god, I played like such a funny move. Since near the end, I just played rook to g8. I was just like, yup, let me just bait this rook over and then do this. Practicing, just casually practicing that queen versus rook endgame. Luckily for me, she kind of just blundered. So was that the first engine move? It was, but I'm not an engine, yeah? It was a fancy move. Reminded me of that rook check thing I played in Twitch Rivals. But yeah, so I got the rook and then I'm gonna win the game. So she kind of resigned. But yeah, that's kind of cool. This game was fun. This game was super fun. I mean, all my games were super fun, actually. I don't think I had a single game this tournament that made me fall asleep, which is rare. Usually when I play tournaments, I fall asleep at some point. Okay, this game was a banger. Dude, this game is going to my into my Nemo Hall of Fame kind of thing. This was awesome. So once again, proving I am not a one trick. So all you guys who call me a one trick, stop calling me a one trick. I play d4, okay? I literally play d4. So now I'm a 2 trick. Yes. I'm still an ODP Aurelia. Come on, man. This opponent was 2200 FIDE as well. So 2200 FIDE. So we're about the same rating. She's actually higher rated than me FIDE. So knight f6, knight c3, g6, h4. And guess what we're gonna play soon? This is literally how Leela likes to play these positions. Just h4, go brr. Grab that space, go attack, do all of that. Is the Dutch a good opening? Well, after you see this game, you might start thinking the Dutch is not so good opening. But once again, what I like to say to everybody, try it out for yourself before you make a final decision. Just kind of like how our crypto guy said today, right? You don't know until you've kind of tried, really. So, so h5, knight takes h5, e4, e6. All right, here was my first issue. I didn't look at this move. I only looked at f and this. So I was like, after e6, I was like, what should I do? So I decided to just play for the kind of same ideas that I had looked previously, but it wasn't actually, I was out of theory on move 6. But yeah, rook takes h5 is very normal. E takes f5 is probably more accurate. and then just do this. But I mean, it's about the same thing. It's just after here, I didn't take. If there was e takes f5, wait, here, I should have played knight to d5. I had to like play a little bit more actively. Now I should have realized that the pawn's no longer on e6, so that means I can start moving my knight up the board. But unfortunately, you know, me being a slight dummy, occasionally, I just kind of missed that. So I didn't play 95. I didn't really think about things in this position very strictly, but I definitely should have. But after rook takes h5, this is not all that bad for me. It's still roughly equal. Obviously, knight to d5 would have been a lot stronger, but I decided to play it kind of like how I had originally planned to play it, which is to rook left around. Now the thing is, after bishop e6, my knight can no longer get into the attack, which really sucks, right? And, well, I played bishop g7, which is not the best move. Should have played bishop to e3, which was not a move I was gonna find because I just spent a move going to h6. Why would I retreat it? So I decided to just take instead. After king takes, rook d3, rook g3, king to f8, bishop to d3, knight to c6. This is already like going a little bit downhill for me. I had to see knight g to e2 here, but I was wondering what happens after knight takes d4. Apparently just knight takes, queen takes, and then queen h6. Well, the problem is that I don't actually have anything after bishop takes g7, right? So when you're down material, what is something you don't want to do? Trade. Yeah, you don't want to trade. So I'm already down material here. It's not the worst, like I've said. I just had to get my pieces active. But the engine probably prefers bishop e3 because it just wants to preserve more material. So yeah, I mean, I just kind of played. I didn't use this knight for half the game, right? Until like around here. Knight h3 has both ideas. You can go for both. Yes. So after bishop f7, I played knight to e4, just threatening the queen. This wasn't that good, but knight b4 is probably a hard move for my opponent to find. The idea is if I go to bishop to b1, then there's bishop takes h5, and then there's, after knight takes f6, well, just bishop g6, and then bishop tied down. So the way it happened in the game was very similar, with just one difference. Here, I had this in-between move, right? Knight takes h7. Now, you understand why bishop g6 is so important, because you don't want to let white take that pawn. So giving up this pawn was probably one of her bigger mistakes, because now I'm forcing her king. If she plays this, for example, I can just play bishop e4. The king is bad. The rooks are no longer connected. Remember, rooks, some Nemo pride over there. They're homies. They're homies. So you gotta do some Nemo pride with them. You wanna make them see each other. They wanna touch hands, you know? All the good stuff. So after rook to g7, king to a bishop f5, and now I'm pretty much just, you know, killing her king, right? So yeah, knight h3. I just want to get the other knight into the game, and I think that's really important. So yeah, basically just kick the knight out. But yeah, after bishop takes e7, rook takes h7, knight to e8, straight up checkmate, which is awesome. So this game was like short. I played like Leela. I won. This game was a little bit interesting as well. My opponent basically like prepared everything. I think I'm pretty convinced she just decided to be like, yeah, she's gonna prepare everything. So here, the time control is 25 plus 10. She just like, opponent's rating, she's much lower. She's around 1500, I think. So yeah, knight f6. I mean, it's just the Evans gambit, so you just gotta not lose your pieces, right? It's a very, very common idea to just kind of push your d5 pawn whenever they go for this fried liver sort of thing. Yes, you haven't seen the bishop d6 line before. Okay, bishop d6 actually counters the Evans, I think, pretty easily, because it's very simple concept. You just protect your pawn. E takes d5, knight a5. Why not castle? Well, if you castle, it's not bad, but there's f4, and then you end up getting to this like slightly uncomfortable position where you have 3 pawns for a minor piece. It's not that bad though in this situation, just because like the pawns can be a force and this is a weak pawn. But I just didn't want to play an unbalanced position, so I decided to go for d5 instead, so not lose any material. So c6, just, you know, playing normal stuff, capturing that, can't take here because then I have knight to b2 with a tempo, and then I preserve. That's an intermediate move. Is this still theory? No, I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, I'm just not letting him do this. So take that. It's just a totally normal position, right? Totally equal position. Okay, so the thing about 1300s, all right? And I'm not dissing every 1300 out there. I'm only dissing certain 1300s. But if you suddenly don't have theory anymore, you don't know what you're gonna do, and you gotta start thinking, bro, 1300s is like people like she literally she played knight c2, and I played queen a5, and I played the move because I was like, there's no way she's gonna play knight e4. There's no way. Like, there's just no way. Because I'm threatening the knight, right? And I'm threatening bishop a6, which is a pin. And it's 2 threats. And 2 threats can be a lot sometimes for 1300s. But if she saw knight e4, this is going to be totally fine for her. I just got to play knight takes e4. And, I mean, I have to play knight takes e4. If I go bishop to a6... Sorry, it's a skewer. It's a skewer. There's knight takes f6 with a check. So now you got another check after I'm forced to play she takes f6, and now you can move your rook. And then you're fine, right? Just this for 1300s. Right, but what I'm saying is she was very well prepared for the first 16 moves. Her coach prepared her, whatever, because she played super fast as well. And then the move after that, she just starts blundering because she has no idea how to actually play the game. Like, that's the reality of what chess is like these days. Like, the whole concept of a 1300 is that you either are really good at memorizing stuff but don't really know how to play chess, or you're really good at just playing chess but you come out inting out of the opening or in certain positions. Once you have all the skills in chess, then you're going to climb higher. So it's literally like just in itself. Bishop takes f1, rook takes f1, c5. I mean, this is just winning. I just converted the endgame, really. She's 15 years old. And also 1500. I'm pretty sure she's also 1500. All right, let's go on to game number 6. I finished 7.5 out of 8. Second place was 5.5 out of 8. So I overachieved a little bit. But that's what we go for. We strive for perfection. And when we miss, we land a little bit above everybody else. Sveta got second. I finished 7.5. The buys are counted, otherwise it'd be 10 rounds. But buys don't count as rounds. This game was probably awesome. I mean, this game was really awesome. It was exactly what I wanted. Just a very normal Spanish style position. I mean, it's just like a position I like to play. As you guys know, I play a lot of Spanish, so obviously something I just really enjoy. She played d4 here, knight g6. Nothing that unusual, but I don't think d5 was that good. Is d5 bad because it kills the white bishop? Yeah, it's bad because it kills the white bishop. Let's go of center pressure. And also, this pawn is surprisingly weak. So I can basically play c6. And you just don't want to have that one pawn sitting on d5 because it's going to suck, right? So knight takes d5. And then if this, then I just have a very strong center, basically. Like, you can see how I can push f5 later. And this pawn is quite undefended. Yeah, exactly. If you play d5 too early in a Spanish, you get your center pawns blown up. And it's a lesson you learn once and then you never do it again because it's a very painful lesson. So basically just see like kind of what I did this game. My opponent just played normal moves. Bishop takes e3, rook takes, knight to f4. I'm threatening to play d5 at some point. So I'm really preparing to play d5. She plays queen to f1, thinking that maybe it's going to be weak on this diagonal. So then I play d5, e takes d5, knight takes d5. And see how all of her pieces are starting to approach the back rank? And this is the part where I just play knight b6. The idea is knight c4, attacking this pawn. And also playing bishop takes f3 in order to play knight to d2 because this knight is protecting that. So after a5, she's literally helping me. I just play knight c4, she plays b3. She doesn't see my idea, bishop takes f3. If she plays b takes c4, then I just take the pawn and she's losing her queen. She takes my bishop, then I play knight to d2 and she just resigned. So do you see how quickly things can go downhill in a Spanish for white if you just kind of do nothing? This is like the biggest issue people have, I think, starting as you try to climb a little bit higher. She's an 1800, right? So if you're an 1800, you can probably learn a little bit from this, but a lot of 1800s just start kind of, especially against stronger players, because you could probably beat most people around your rating or lower. But when you play against higher rated people, you absolutely can't just sit around and do nothing. Because if you sit around and do nothing, then it's like, sorry, you're literally waiting for your opponent to do whatever they want and you'll just lose to them, right? So this game was quite the entertainment. Just play like Sardash, exactly. Play like Sardash, but good. If Sardash was actually good, his chess would be quite nice to watch. But I guess you can say the same for a lot of people. I feel like that was just a very generalized statement. But he isn't, yeah. E takes d5. Queen takes d5. I drew against Svetlana. This is the game I drew. But I was totally winning. I was just a coin flip at the end as to which move. I didn't want to talk about the opening because I didn't know what I was doing, so I was just like, bruh. Also, I've offered her a draw because I really had to use the washroom, and like she declined my draw, and I was like, this sucks. Like, holy frick, this game, I was in so much pain. I was in so much pain this game. Like, bro, I just want it done with. It's not mean. You can't use bathrooms during breaks because you have to like be the entire time on camera, right? So I was like, no, please, for the love of God. Please. So anyways, I don't really want to talk too much about it, but starting here, I was like, okay, time for me to play for a win because just play in the bathroom next time, yeah. But like I said, I think she wanted to keep queens on for way too long. Like, I think if she just takes, it has to be like a draw. But with the way she played, she probably thought I got double pawns, but what I actually got was a very strong F file. Rook to F1, and then I'm just like controlling this entire file, just defend the pawn casually, play takes, defend this pawn, and like this position is just painful for black to play, right? Like, I'm just slowly gaining ground. Now I decided to go for this, which was interesting. So basically, like I was saying, she can take this B pawn, I'm just gonna go for the A pawn and try to win. Yeah, so I mean here, bishop d4, it was really interesting because it started being a bit of a coin flip, I think. Just started being an absolute coin flip. Alright, so here, rook takes c2, I just go rook to f8, check, and then I start going for this pawn. So I think here it's like about a draw-ish, and go here, then here. I had to like move my rook down to the bottom rank, but I just didn't see that idea. So here, I thought of two moves. Three actually. I thought of rook a7, bishop to b5, or rook to f8. Now, rook f8 is winning because if she tries to promote, then I have rook to a7. Look at this, king to d6, rook to d8. If it goes king to c6, then you have bishop to d5, king b5, rook to b8, king to a4, bishop c6 checkmate. Like, wow, what a sequence of moves, you know? But like, I had to see that from playing rook f8. Like, I had to see it basically from here. Like, and that was hard. That was the hard part. But like, if the king goes to e5, then I just take the rook for free and then I'm able to defend. So that wouldn't have been an issue. But yeah, if I had just seen checkmate in, you know, 5, then I would have won this game. Basically just had to see this idea. So rook a7, king d6. I had the exact same idea here. Well, actually, I don't. It's still rook f8 here. Like, I just had to go rook f8, but I decided to go bishop b5 instead. And then now it's a draw. I have perpetual just by checking here, obviously, but I decided I want to try. But now it's a little too late. So c4 is really good. Just making sure I don't have rook to b6. So I'm trying to check from here and then just end up giving up the the rook for the queen that promoted, and then it's a draw because I have too many pawns. So she has to go capture these, and then I can just take my time to swap off this. I think she was winning at one point if she played it right. Oh, on this one move, she just played b2. She's winning because I guess this is too hard for me to defend. b2 is winning, yes. Yeah, b2 instead of c2 was winning. You guys are right. But yeah, this game ended up in a draw, which I think is a fair result for a very entertaining game. Both games versus Sveta. I drew, yeah, my first game against Svetlana was very interesting as well. Well, not that uninteresting. More of a masterclass on how to not play middle games and win in the end game, but why am I in CLG? Look! When does CLG play tonight? They're gonna win against Team Liquid, okay?
Out CLG. Broxah, just one final goodbye in the Zhonyas as Team Liquid claim the Nexus. What a bounce back.
Okay, so G3 here. This was the opening that I said today to the Mr. Crypto dude. Dude, I get so scared pronouncing his name. Surijit? And his son was Siddhartha. Mr. Crypto dude. The CPO of Coinbase. Yeah, Surujit. Okay, Sorujit. That's C3PO, well, C3PO. Bishop G6, G4. I mean, I'm a little bit passive here. Okay, so I play F5. Just trying to undermine her pawn structure, obviously. Yeah, so Bishop F7, she plays D5. Here I started trolling a little bit because I thought I could just like hold my knight here, everything's gonna be fine. But then her knight just comes onto e6 and it actually starts feeling like a little bit like a weakness. So this e6 square definitely became a huge weakness in my position. So I mean, basically she had like a lot of, I skipped over a lot of things here, but she had like some really interesting ideas, I think, in this position. There was knight takes g7 that worked at some point, yeah, but I think this is like an impossible move to find because even I didn't think about it seriously. I was like, yeah, dude, there's no way I'm lost. But I think after this, just knight h6, because everything here is protected, right? So I thought if queen here, then you can just play like, I mean, this knight is hanging first of all, so there's no way for the queen to come here. So I thought this was gonna be just fine. But, so knight to h6, and then just suddenly like attacking my king, and I have a little bit of difficulty to improve my pieces, and my king's weak. This is an obora again. So that was a really good idea from her, but she didn't see it, and then after that, she didn't really have any chances. And then I was able to kind of just get myself out of the whole situation. I won, like, you know, I just took that pawn back, played c5. I have a pair of bishops, right? So I was like really happy about entering this endgame because pair of bishops, hella strong endgames. And you can see how I didn't play with perfect technique, but the idea was simple. Got the double rooks here, and then I'm able to play like kind of like d4 or something. She moves the rook away. We're not able to just like unga bunga it. So I played king g7, kind of just slow chess. Well, sorry, I played c4 actually, which is not that slow, just threatening this, but like it's, here she could not defend the pawn like that. But yeah, I just started forcing my way through. I literally unga bunga it. Wow, nice. And then yeah, this was a breakthrough, and then I had this check, and then I could play this. And around here, dude, I really needed to use the washroom again. 1 hour tournaments are so, like, these games last about an hour 15 minutes, and it's such an awkward time for my bladder because about like every 1 hour-ish or so I need to use the washroom. So during this tournament, during this game, I was just like, for the love of God, I'm up a piece, can you please resign? I didn't say that to her obviously, but like I just really had to freaking go. I was like, oh my God, what happens if you go to the bathroom? I probably get disqualified. Washroom death, exactly. So b4, and then I just go here, and yeah, I drink a lot of water during the games because if I don't, I get headaches. So don't really want that to happen either. Yeah, I was like, please. I mean, I played this pretty well. Nothing's like serious happened. I mean, it's just normal chess, not letting her promote, obviously. Remember? So yeah, this is the mushroom. Do you guys remember the mushroom? You know what I thought about? I just realized I can make a mushroom on a chessboard. Okay, well maybe not here, but it's a mushroom. It is a mushroom. Okay, so this is like your mushroom, and we're skewering this. Okay, so just making sure she doesn't promote. Things got a little bit sketchy here because I ended up having to calculate this line. So rook king to c3, rook takes b7. Basically just making sure I don't lose this bishop, right? If I move the rook, then she just takes this, and this is a draw. So don't want that to happen. But luckily, I have these threats that I can do. I was so scared she was gonna give up this knight for the pawn, and then I would have to like play half an hour more of a bishop versus king endgame. There were so many situations in this tournament where I realized a lack of endgame is actually so dangerous. Queen versus rook, yes. So rook to f3. And then I just started pushing I just started swapping off the pieces and start pushing up my pawn. And then she just resigned. Thank God. Bless. I just ran out. I just like had to use the washroom. So this game was fun. And then obviously for my last game, I asked the arbiter, well, okay, so 2 rounds ago, right? Because I won basically 3 rounds in advance. So I was like, yo, have I already qualified? And they were like, yes, but please don't do anything disrespectful. I was like, bruh. Yeah, no, I didn't lose a single game this time. So what happened this game was, okay, how do I complete my shonen arc? Like, how do I complete my shonen arc? How do I say that I'm going back into chess with a statement, right? So I played the Polish opening because 32% Polish. So yeah, I decided to play move 1 b4, and I'm like, yup, did anybody watch this live? If you guys watch this live, then you would know this one is for you. This one is literally for you. Yeah, so B4 was for all the polls in the chat. I thought it was a semi-troll opening. It's not a troll opening as much as the first time I played against her, like earlier in the tournament, she prepared like 13 moves for me, okay? She prepared 13 moves, like, of course. Yeah, but B4 was for the Polish people. And I mean, I don't know how to play this. It's hardly an opening, you know, like it's really just not an opening. Yeah, B4 is much better than G4. It probably just equalizes, which I'm cool with. Like, I didn't want to play 16 moves of theory. I think I'm clearly better after this kind of position. Like, I'm not clearly better. I think it's just easier for me to play. So king h2, g5, c3, d takes c3, bishop takes c3, bishop f6. Here I should have probably played e5. Yep, I'm correct. And just play this position. I'm just like slightly better, you know? Like I got space, I got bishops. I got nice places to go for my knights. So some pretty comfortable gameplay here for me. I didn't really need to do anything too special. And I played queen c2, which is a big mistake. She played knight b4. I wasn't expecting her to play that. I saw it, but after I played queen c2, I was like, oh shit, she has knight b4. I wasn't expecting her to play it, so I'm really impressed. My opponent, right, being like 1500, actually saw knight b4. So basically, yeah. She must be a viewer. So Zuckerman's actually like, she messaged me before like as a fan. No, obviously it's a play on words. I know what he means, guys. It's a play on the it's a play on the phrasing of the sentence. But yes, queen to b1, she takes f4. So queen to c3, she's playing really active, which is awesome. But unfortunately for her, she doesn't know she's about to get hit with the play fast and bad strategy, because I had 18 minutes here, she had like 2 minutes. So I just started like playing complicated chess, and like, I mean, I'm better here, right? Because like I get all my piece activity back, and here she just flagged on time. But yeah, I mean, I'm obviously not super impressed with the way I played this B4 opening, but it's not like I didn't want to play theory, basically. That's why I just decided to just play this. Make sure you guys are saying hi too. Yeah, I'm a little bit tired today because I went to the beach. I'm like super sunburnt, so not the best experience. Accidentally sunburning myself.
Everyday people love.
That kind of sucks. But other than that, you know, we're chilling. So, but yeah, I appreciate y'all so much for coming. Thank y'all so much. Peace.